And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Recently I reviewed Formula D, a racing game with these crazy cars screeching around the corner, peeling out, and trying to race. Monaco was the track that was the main track in the base game. Today we're looking at a new expansion for Formula D. I know there's a bunch of them out there. This one came out just this year in 2014. We're talking about Sochi in New Jersey. A double-sided map. Let's take a look. How does it compare to the regular Monaco map? Is it worth getting? Let's look. I'll see you on the other side. So we're looking at the New Jersey map here, and what you'll notice from the overview here is that there's a total of 8 turns here that you can see, and of course we're on the body of water there. So let's take a look at some of these 8 turns in more detail. But before that, I want to show you the beauty of the artwork on this board. I mean, if you look in closely, you see the buildings and the clouds hovering over, all the cars parked there. And then when we go into the bodies of water, you'll see the boats there. You'll see the different depths of the water depending on the color of the water that's there. We see all the little boats there. The coolest part of this board, artwork-wise, is probably they have the Statue of Liberty out there holding the checkered flag. That is definitely the coolest part of the board from an artistic perspective. Of course, we have the New Jersey sign there, and just, you know, showing you that the board, the colors, just like the original board, is very, very interesting to look at, and the detail on it is very good. So to show you from the top, we have 4 turns here that you have to stop twice in. We have one over here, one here, one here, and one right off the bat, right at the beginning. Now, the base game only had 2 turns that were of 2, but 3 of these turns on that require 2 stops have a maximum of only 9 and a minimum of 4. Where on the base game, they were up in like the 13 area. You know, you could have 11 or 13 stops, spaces as large. So the spots, the amount of spots that are in these 2 turns, first of all, is more of them where you have to stop twice. And second of all, they're actually smaller. So you have to stop more often and they're harder to get into. Now right off the bat, after you stop twice here, look at this, we have 2 right-angled turns. Now you only have to stop there once, but literally, this inside turn only has 1, so it's like 1 to 4, which again is a lot more difficult than most of the turns, pretty much all of the turns in the base game. So these, again, it's really hard to be kind of getting in there. It's a lot more challenging. And there's another set of 1 turns here towards the end of the track that are spaces of 5 and 1 and 6 and 2. And again, it's just, they're right back to back and they're a lot harder, a lot smaller than the base game. So overall, as we look at this map and we zoom out, it's just, there's a lot more tougher turns, they're more frequent and they're harder. So this is definitely a map for the more experienced player, and that is New Jersey. So now we're gonna look at the Sochi map. In Russia. So what we're seeing here is just an overview of the map here. Again, just like the other ones, pretty nice looking to look at. So it's cool that this is Sochi because, of course, the Olympic Games were just in Sochi this past year. And there's the Olympic Stadium with the rings, which is a nice touch. Another cool thing is that the word turn is written in Russian here. So it's turn 1, turn 2, and there's 10 total turns in this version of the map. And as you can see, pretty much every turn except one of them, you only have to stop once. So it's a lot of turns, but you're only stopping once. Some of them are pretty small, 5 and 1s here. Again, some of them have just 1 spot on the inside, but they're more condensed, but there's just 1. So there's a lot of turning without having a lot of straightaway here, and you got to stop there just once. So it's not too terribly hard, but they are smaller. So it's still more difficult than, I'd say, the Monaco track that comes with the base game. And then you have this 3-turn, which is really crazy because it comes out of the longest, actually the only really long straightaway in the whole map. And you're coming from the fastest time you'll be driving all the way around, and you've got to stop 3 times. It's the only 3-turn in this map, and you've got 19 or 11 spaces there to do it. So this one tends to be a very technical, pressing your luck aspect of the game, where everyone's trying to fly through that straightaway, get through this 3-turn, 1-turn, and 1-turn before the end of the game. And this tends to be a pretty intense part of the race, because usually it's pretty close, and who's going to be pushing their luck the best around this turn, who has the most wear points left. So it can be a good ending. The ending of this game is usually pretty hot. And I just want to show you some more detail of, again, the detail of these maps are all awesome. Cars, people, It's just like the other boards. They all look very, very nice in the detail of the boards and the colors and such. Like that. And the last thing to know is there's some interesting spots on some of the straightaways and such, where look at this spot is so much longer than the others. So this one is 30, but then this one is 30. So there's a different amount of spaces. If you look really closely, some of the spaces are longer than others. So riding in one lane versus the other might mean something when you're on those straightaways, and that's another interesting twist to this map. All right, there's Sochi and New Jersey. Now, this is the first and only expansion that I've played for this, so I don't really have anything else to compare it to of the other expansions, so I won't be able to comment on that. What I can comment on is that I've played Formula D a bunch of times, a handful of times. I'm not yet feeling sick of the maps, but eventually if I play a lot, I'll probably want a new challenge. For these expansion maps, let's talk about New Jersey first. Man, that map is hard. It's a lot harder than the Monaco base map that comes with the game. Geez, there's double the amount of number 2 turns where you have to stop twice, which means if you blow through it without stopping once, the game's over. I think half of the turns, or close to half of the turns, are double stops. That's really hard, and the double stops are so much smaller than the Monaco double stop, the one that's in that map. Oof, this is a really tough map, but I think it's good because maybe once you get good at the Monaco map and such, you'd want a good challenge. So I think this is the next step up, and it's a logical choice if you're feeling the other map, the base map's getting too easy. The Sochi map had a ton of 10 turns. Most of them, except I think one of them, are all stops 1. But they're all very small right-hand turns and stuff like that, and they're really bunched at the beginning and such. This one felt a little less exciting to me. It was a little more anticlimactic, getting around the corners. I felt that the randomization and the luck, because most people are staying close to the same gear towards the beginning for those first 4 turns, and the randomization of the games, I think, took a bigger toll on this map than any of the others that I had played, which is just the base, the street base, and New Jersey. The coolest part about this map is the very end of the track where you have that really long straightaway, and then you have the turn where you have to stop 3 times and then 2 more turns right away. And what we found is that the ending of this game tends to be a lot more interesting than the beginning. If the randomization didn't throw off some cars going, doing well and doing not so well at the beginning of the game, if you have a few cars that are coming down through that straightaway that are close to each other, the end is really good because it really pushes that push your luck mechanic of this game hugely, because people are trying to figure out, hey, can I get through that 3 turn with just 2 and take some wear points down and try to screech through these last 2 turns? People are really pushing their luck, exploding on that last turn. So if the randomization of those really close first turns don't spread out the map too much, the ending will be exciting. You might not be one of the ones there, but it might be exciting to watch anyways. So I like New Jersey better than Sochi, but they're both a step up in difficulty from the base game. So if you've played it a lot, this would be one to check out. Sochi and New Jersey.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.